My name is Bill. If you truly appreciate real-life supernatural journeys into the void, do not even think of missing tonight's episode, Secrets of the Jinn. Once in a time before time, fire gave birth to the Jinn, creatures condemned to dwell in the void between worlds. One who wakes a Jinn will be granted 3 wishes. However, there is a cost connected to that 3rd wish. Tonight we reveal the secrets of the Jinn, and we're starting right now. Oh yeah. Here at allthat'sinteresting.com, there's an article by Marco Margaritov and edited by John Karofsky, entitled What Are Djinn? The Mysterious Genies of Arabian Mythology. Mysterious figures described in the mythology of pre-Islamic Arabia. That's before the religion people. Jinn are shape-shifting genies said to aid and torment the humans they encounter. While the concept of jinn might seem unfamiliar at first, these legendary creatures have actually been introduced to the world. To the genie in Disney's Aladdin, not to mention I Dream of Jeannie. But despite the movie's depiction, these shape-shifting spirits are not as traditionally seen as friendly. These fabled genies described in the pre-Islamic mythology of Arabia can appear as everything from snakes to scorpions to humans. Although these spirits are neither inherently good nor bad, some alleged sightings over the years have been nothing short of terrifying. From their ancient beginnings to their representation in modern pop culture, the Jinn have maintained a significant foothold throughout history. It's unclear when the specific concept first emerged, but we do know that the spirits have served as a source of inspiration and fear in the Arab world, long before the 7th century introduction of Islam, and they retain significant influence to this day. While Jinn are mentioned in the Quran, and are thus part of Islam, these spirits are not worshipped in the faith. Thought to transcend the boundaries of the physical world, they are said to be made of fire without smoke. Pre-Islamic Arabs believed that Jinn could control the elements and turn plots of land fertile. While this might sound unnerving, Jinn have also inspired some of the most revered classical Arab poets. Poets in pre-Islamic Arabia often said they had a special genie that was their companion, said Sunila Mubayai, a researcher of Arabic literature. Sometimes they would attribute their verses to the Jinn. I guess genie is this plural of Jinn. Some scholars are adamant that human beings cannot fully comprehend these spirits. But it is generally agreed among believers that Jinn can interact in their own realm as well as ours. As such, they can fall in love and even have encounters, close physical encounters with human beings. Amira El-Zain, author of Islam, Arabs, and the Intelligent World of the Jinn, writes, as spiritual entities, the Jinn are considered dual-dimensional, with the ability to live and operate in both the manifest and the invisible domain. To her point, Jinn are thought to be amorphous, without shape, and capable of shape-shifting into human or animal form. Jinn, quote, Jinn eat, drink, sleep, procreate, and die, said El-Zain. This provides them with an eerie advantage in our world, and their intentions are often malleable. Their intentions often vary. It's no surprise that they haven't always been portrayed to be as pleasant as the wish-granting genie in the Disney film. Alleged sightings. The 7th century Islamic prophet Muhammad famously acknowledged the existence of jinn in the Quran as non-material beings who have free will like humans. While El-Zain believes, quote, one can't be Muslim if he or she does not have faith in the existence of the jinn, end quote. It's nearly impossible to confirm that all 1.6 billion Muslims in the world share that view. For many of those who do, however, jinn are considered part of the unseen, or al-ghaib. Faith in their power is so strong that it's not unheard of for people to seek out exorcisms to get rid of them. These rituals often involve reciting the Quran over a person. The Arabs of pre-Islam, according to El-Zain, invented a whole set of exorcism procedures to protect themselves from the evil actions of the jinn on their bodies and minds, such as the use of beads, incense, bones, and salt, and charms written in Arabic, Hebrew, and Syriac, or the hanging around their necks of a dead animal's teeth, such as a fox or a cat, to frighten the jinn and keep them at bay, end quote. While these spirits are not entirely good or bad, jinn are lower in rank than angels and are oftentimes believed to be capable of human possession. A 2014 study found that the attribution of psychiatric symptoms to jinn is common in some Muslim populations. Jinn have also reportedly appeared in some truly creepy first-hand encounters. One girl claimed a bully at a boarding school nearly choked when her tongue swelled up after she broke another student's necklace. The student in question began to speak in a male voice, claiming to be a jinn who had traveled from afar. Only later did her parents reveal that they bought the jewelry from a shaman, specifically to hold in the malevolent spirit. Sightings are perhaps the most rampant in Oman, a remote Arabian outpost. The residents claim to be regularly experiencing jinn amidst the historic Islamic architecture. Muhammad al-Hinai, a devout Muslim with postgraduate credentials, has reported seeing a pale woman in rags and hearing her cackle. Another local claimed his sibling displayed personality changes after encountering one of the spirits. He said, I found my brother some nights muttering against a wall, muttering unintelligible words, end quote. Harib al-Sukali, a local exorcist who's claimed to have treated over 5,000, said they want to tear us apart. Our minds, our communities. And they do it with arguments, disbelief. And all the time the jinn are still here waiting. This is the burden of Oman. Jinn operate in a somewhat more gray area than demons. The demons of Christianity, that is. And as they oscillate between good and evil, because they oscillate between good and evil, and thus they behave more comparably to humans. While Aladdin did accurately convey that the character's charming nature clearly veered from the spookiness of traditional folklore. Excuse me. Aladdin's genie is far from the only well-known jinn character. In 1001 Nights, a collection of famous folktales from the Islamic Golden Age, the ancient entity was also explored. The fisherman and the genie sees a fisherman discover a jinn trapped in a jar that he finds in the sea. Although the spirit is initially furious about being trapped inside for centuries, it eventually provides the man with exotic fish to give to a sultan. More recently, Netflix's first Arabic original series, Djinn, caused a furor in Jordan over its immoral scenes. Set in Petra, youths attempt to save the world from jinn, which seems like a simple enough premise. But the outrage in Jordan actually stemmed from a girl in the show kissing two different boys in separate scenes. Put that hijab back on. I should be cursed for making such jokes. And God forgive me. And Allah forgive me. Let's take a look at some art.
Imagine being watched, not by human eyes, but by something unseen, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the smallest misstep. Jinn are all around us, moving unseen in places we'd least expect. The empty rooms, the dimly lit hallways, the silent corners of our homes. They watch, they wait, hidden just beyond the edge of our perception, listening for the moments when we are most vulnerable. They don't need permission, only an invitation we unknowingly give. Number 1. Jinn may harm, out of malice or injustice. Jinn are like humans in that they have free will, and some may choose to act unjustly or harmfully toward others. Sometimes, a jinn may harm a person simply due to a dislike or a personal vendetta, leading to oppression or even possession. Number 2. Love or attraction from a jinn. Jinn may develop feelings of attraction toward a person, especially if that person is unaware of their presence. Jinn are unseen but present, and they can watch our actions, leading to attachments, particularly if they feel a strong attraction, as jinn may become drawn to individuals who seem unguarded. Number 3. Unintentional harm to jinn. Jinn exist in many hidden places, and it's easy to accidentally disturb them. Simple acts, like pouring hot water on the ground, stepping into secluded areas, or even moving objects without thinking, can cause harm to jinn who are in close proximity. This unintended harm may provoke a reaction, as the jinn may retaliate, feeling they've been wronged. Number 4. Extreme emotional states. Excessive anger, fear, and even extreme states of desire leave a person vulnerable. When consumed by anger, fear, or excessive indulgence, a person's spiritual defenses weaken, making it easier for a jinn to influence or even possess them. Number 5. Indulgence in forbidden actions. Engaging in unlawful activities, particularly those of a sexual or immoral nature, opens pathways for jinn to invade a person's being. Watching inappropriate content or engaging in forbidden behaviors puts one in a state of vulnerability where a jinn can take advantage. This vulnerability exists even during lawful intimacy with one's spouse, and resisting temptation reinforces one's defenses against any jinn seeking entry. No matter how powerful or cunning the jinn may seem, remember this: one should change their physical state. If standing, sit down. If sitting, lie down. This action disrupts any spiritual or emotional opening that a jinn could exploit. So do not fear the jinn, an unseen.
Here at AncientOrigins.net. Is a story entitled Jinn, Tales of Wishmasters Throughout Time. And the author begins, in translation, the term jinn can be interpreted as hidden from sight, or the hidden ones. In Arabic, the word jinn defines a collective number, and it derives from the root jnn, or GNN, which means to hide or to be hidden. All this implies that the jinn are not necessarily spirits, but they are hidden in their status in time, space, and darkness. The word Ghana is also derived from the same root. This refers to another place, hidden in space and time. The Garden of Paradise. In English, genie is a synonym for jinn, and it is derived from the Latin genius, which once referred to a sort of protective spirit, which each human was thought to have had since the moment of birth. The only resemblance between the two is the pronunciation, as jinn and genius are totally distinct entities. From the Latin genus, the modern term genetics is derived, with a certain resemblance to jinn, as these entities are believed to be capable of determining familial features of resemblance. In other words, they can copy your face. In Arabic, the singular for genie or jinn is genie. So jinn is multiple. Jinn is the plural. Genie is the singular. I dream of genie. Like many other beings, jinn can be either male or female. How to find a jinn? Also, jinn can exist independently, or they can attach themselves to inanimate objects, especially old objects, in which they can reside and use for travel. For example, it was believed that jinn could become attached to precious or semi-precious stones, such as opals. In the Middle East, archaeologists have found evidence from the pre-Islamic era, which suggests that during that time there was no clear distinction between spirits inferior to angels and jinn. In northwest Arabia, archaeological evidence has also clearly suggested the worship of the jinn. In a region near Palmyra, an unearthed inscription called the Jinn the good and rewarding gods. But despite all archaeological evidence regarding jinn worship, the Quran rejects this practice, arguing that Allah is the only one who is to be revered and worshipped. Jinn in Arabian Nights and the Quran. Jinn are most commonly known from the tales contained in Arabian Nights, a writing which illustrates several kinds of jinn and spirits. That's what it says. According to the text, numerous spirits and entities exist alongside humans, and they interact with one another, just as they interact with humans. Out of all these entities, the type of jinn known as Ifrit is described as physically larger than the rest, as well as the most powerful. Another kind of jinn, the Marid, is said to live in seas and oceans as a water spirit. As the most well-known supernatural beings of Islamic tradition, jinn are often mentioned in the Quran, 29 times, I think. They reside in the void between worlds, a parallel dimension different from the world of humans or any other known world. Even though angels, humans, and jinn are the three types of sentient beings created by Allah, the latter are the most mysterious. The information regarding them is scarce, but it is said that they have come into being from the smokeless flame, and that they can be good, evil, or neutral. Still, jinn can be dangerous and hostile towards humans, using every chance they get to twist the words and desires of humans against themselves. The Surat al-Jinn is a surah containing the 72nd chapter of the Quran, which is dedicated entirely to jinn. Jinn are also mentioned in the Quran in the final verse of the Surat al-Nas, but the classic image of jinn as wishmasters was first depicted in Arabian Nights. Unlike angels, but similar to humans, jinn enjoy free will. Therefore, they can make their own choices, and they can also allegedly be judged on Judgment Day and sent to either heaven or hell. Jinn usually live in highly remote areas with clouds, waters, trees, and mountains. They traditionally are said to live in their own communities, and their existence can remain secret, as they are able to travel over great distances extremely quickly. Also, jinn can make themselves invisible to the eyes of humans. Because of all this, stories say that humans can only get small, vague, and unclear glimpses of the existence of jinn, failing to fully perceive their reality. Iblis, from jinn to the devil. It is said that after Allah created man, he asked angels and jinn to bow before Adam. At that time, one jinn exerted his free will and chose to disobey the Creator. He was the Iblis. For his disobedience, he was banished from paradise, and he became the devil, under the name of Shaitan, or Shaitan. This change caused Allah to send prophets to both human and jinn alike, in order to provide good counsel and show them the righteous path. In this way, Muhammad was but one of these prophets. One of the differences between Christianity and Islam is that the Bible constitutes the Word of God sent through the apostles. Well, the New Testament does. While the Quran is considered to be the Word of Allah itself. As depicted in the Quran, Iblis gained Allah's favor through his devotion, and he was granted command over the order of angels. However, even though he had obtained a rank similar to that of angels, and just as the angels, he had to listen to and obey Allah's orders, Iblis refused to bow before Adam, while stating, "I am better than he. Thou didst create me from fire, and him from clay." Until Judgment Day, Allah, in His mercy, postponed the destruction of Iblis turned Shaitan. As for devils, the Islamic tradition states, "We made the evil ones friends only to those without faith." In Christianity, Lucifer, an angel, became Satan. In Islam, Iblis, a jinn, became Shaitan, the devil. When it comes to the power Shaitan has over man, there are two main aspects he can exploit. The first is hubris, which means extreme pride and arrogance. The second is influence, which means that Shaitan can whisper and instigate people to do evil. But it is up to each human to decide whether he wishes to follow the suggested evil path. In this way, Shaitan lacks any kind of direct means of control over human lives. Let's check out some art.
Deep dive into the Jinn, unveiling the mysteries of the genie.
The concept of the Jinn can be traced back to ancient Arabian folklore, where they were believed to inhabit the deserts, mountains, and remote places of the world. Unlike angels or demons, Jinn were viewed as beings of free will, capable of both good and evil deeds. In Islamic tradition, they are often depicted as supernatural beings created from smokeless fire by Allah, existing alongside humans but in a parallel realm. Jinn are described as shapeshifters, able to assume various forms ranging from ethereal beings to monstrous creatures. They are said to possess immense supernatural powers, including the ability to grant wishes, manipulate the elements, and influence human destiny. Within Jinn folklore, there are several classifications based on power, alignment, and behavior. These include Marid. Considered the most powerful type of Jinn, Marids are often associated with bodies of water and are known for their immense strength and formidable magical abilities. Ifrit. Ifrits are fiery Jinn known for their malevolent nature and propensity for mischief. They are often depicted as cunning and vengeful beings capable of great destruction. Jinniya, female Jinn, known for their beauty and seductive powers. Jinniya are often portrayed as enchantresses who lure unsuspecting humans into their grasp. Ghouls are Jinn associated with death and the grave. They are often depicted as malevolent spirits that prey on travelers and wanderers in the desert. Throughout history, there have been numerous accounts of encounters with Jinn, ranging from benign interactions to terrifying confrontations. From tales of wish fulfillment to cautionary fables, warning of the dangers of meddling with the unknown. From the iconic genie in Disney's Aladdin to the dark and sinister Jinn of horror films, these ancient beings have been reimagined in countless ways, reflecting our enduring fascination with the supernatural and the unknown.
Thank you for diving into the spine-chilling mysteries with Chills Unveiled.
Here at Exemplora.com is a story by Irfan entitled The Unseen and the Mysterious, The Jinn. And Irfan begins. After countless hours of watching clips on YouTube, reading articles on the internet, studying the Quran and Hadith, both teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, and going through non-Muslim forums, I finally gathered my thoughts about the Jinn. In order for you to get the whole picture about this mysterious entity, I will have first to take you through some history and characteristics of the Jinn. I will then explain several phenomena around the world to which this being has been linked. The word jinn is an Arabic word meaning to hide or hidden. The jinn are hidden from our sight and are considered to be spiritual beings, similar to angels, only lower than angels in rank. These beings are mentioned mainly in Islam. Actually, they were not first mentioned in Islam, as we've learned, but that's true. But also have some links to Christianity and the Prophet Solomon. Genie is the singular form of jinn. According to a translation of the Quran by Mufti Taqi Usmani, the father of the jinn is called Jan, just as the father of mankind is Adam. Jan was said to be created from a substance that was as blazing as fire, but subtle as wind. The earliest book that talks about the jinn is the Quran. Not true either. There's like Tales of 1001 Nights. Talks about it. And they're mentioned approximately 28 times. Jinn stories can be found in a book called 1001 Nights, which is a collection of folk tales compiled in Arabic. The English version is known as Arabian Nights. Suleiman, or King Solomon, son of David, was a prophet of ancient Israel. He was bestowed with special powers by God, including wisdom in his youth, talking to birds, and having control over the jinn. He was also known to be a great preacher. In the Quran, Prophet Suleiman talks to the jinn and people, telling them to bring the throne of the Queen of Sheba. Chapter 27, verses 38 to 40. Said an Ifrit of the Djinns, quote, I will bring it to thee before thou rise from thy council. Indeed, I have full strength for the purpose, and may be trusted. End quote. The main thing to be noted here is the traveling speed of the genie. According to the Quran, humans and jinn will both face the day of judgment and be punished or rewarded according to their deeds. In other words, both have free will. A genie called Iblis used his free will and refused to bow to Adam. He was therefore expelled from the heavens and declared Satan, meaning the opposer. In the Quran, Allah says, he is of the jinn. The throne of Iblis is said to be over water. It is still not clearly understood whether jinn are angels, or a tribe of angels, or a separate entity altogether. I will leave that for scholars to decide, writes someone who didn't check the scholars. Fortune-telling was a common practice before, during, and after the time of the Prophet Muhammad. The fortune-tellers before his time were very accurate. The reason for the fortune-teller's great accuracy was that the gates to heavens were open to the jinn. The jinn once listened to the commands of the Almighty and relayed those messages to the fortune-teller. During the time of the Prophet Muhammad, new barriers were established to distance the jinn from the truth. Therefore, accuracy in fortune-telling went downhill, literally destroying the industry. Every human is believed to have one angel and one genie with them at all times. The angel is there to know everything you do and write down all your deeds in a book attached to your neck. They also report your daily and nightly deeds to God. In other words, they're a snitch. The genie is there to lead you astray. Well, I thought genies could be good. To lead you astray or to inspire you. When a person dies, the genie is relieved of its duty and is free until it dies to roam the earth and cause more mischief. Again, assuming that genies only cause mischief. The lifespan of the jinn is not clearly known. Some say they live for 1,000 years, others up to 8,000. Some people believe there are tribes of jinn. The author writes, I found more logical sense in types rather than tribes during my research. Therefore, we'll stick to the types of jinn in this article. There are 4 types of jinn: Salah, Ghoul, Ifrit, and Marid. If there had to be only one type of jinn out of these 4, then it would be the Ifrit. There could also be ranks among the jinn instead of types. The Ifrit are mentioned in some Quran translations and the Hadith. The Sila are believed to be female. They are rare, and it is not known where they reside. They are reserved, secretive, independent, and they are excellent shapeshifters. Sila can manipulate circumstances around you, but this is only an illusion. This ability makes them great in the art of manipulating others for a short time. They are believed to be the most intelligent of the jinn, and they can also become a human's companion. Some people confuse the silah with the ghoul because it is difficult to differentiate between them. Maybe he'll tell us about that next. The ghoul. Ghoul in English. The ghoul are believed to be female as well, and they inhabit burial grounds and other deserted places. They are evil jinn and are said to be the offspring of Iblis, Satan. They are also shapeshifters, but can be recognized by their unchangeable sign, the hoofs of a donkey. And here's a quote from Britannica Encyclopedia Online. Quote, "A ghoul stalked the desert, often in the guise of an attractive woman, trying to distract travelers, and when successful, dispatched and ate them. The sole defense that one had against a ghoul was to strike it in one blow. A second blow would only bring it back to life again." End quote. One thing to note here, continues the author, is that the throne of Iblis is in the waters. Yet the offspring, the ghoul, inhabit burial grounds and deserted places. The throne part is from the Hadith, which are more reliable sources than the internet. Well, the Hadith was written by Muhammad, right? So yeah, I'd say it's more reliable than the internet. This guy must be a genius. So if any of the two statements are wrong, it would be the ghoul inhabiting burial grounds and in deserted places. Okay, so I'm right, but maybe I'm not right. The Ifrit. Ifrit means rebellious. They can be male or female. Ifrit or Ifrita. Like humans, they have good and bad ones between them, but are depicted as wicked and ruthless. They inhabit the underground and ruins. Ifrits have a structured society, complete with kings, clans, and tribes. They are known to have enormous wings, and they look like they are made of smoke. They are susceptible to magic, which humans can use against them to dispatch them or capture and enslave them. An Ifrit can be a believer or an unbeliever, or have the same belief system as a human. In other words, Jewish, Christian, atheist, Sikh, Hindu, Buddhist. It is difficult to differentiate between an Ifrit and a Marid, as they have very similar characteristics. The Marid. Marid are described as the most powerful type of jinn. They have great powers and inhabit the oceans, seas, and open waters. They are the most arrogant and proud of all the jinn types. They do grant wishes to humans, but it requires some kind of battle, or ritual, or imprisonment, or flattery. That's the Marid with the stuck in the bottle that you rub and get the genie out. Let's check out some art. Jabal Hafa, known to the locals as Jabal al-Jinn, the mountain of the jinn. Over the years, many travelers have claimed to hear whispers, voices speaking in a language no human can understand. This story is about one such group, a group of explorers who, despite the warnings, were drawn to Jabal Hafa, eager to unlock its secrets. Suddenly, a rock slide. The ground shook violently, forcing the group to scramble for safety. They took shelter in a nearby cave, a dark gaping maw in the side of the mountain, but inside they found something far worse than the storm outside. The cave was cold, much colder than it should have been, and the walls were covered in ancient carvings, symbols no one recognized. They glowed faintly in the darkness, pulsating with a strange unnatural light. Suddenly one of the explorers screamed. They turned to see him, vanished into the shadows. as if the darkness had swallowed him whole. Panic spread through the group. They called his name, but there was no answer, only the deep echoing silence of the cave. Then from the shadows they heard it, the unmistakable voice of the Djinn. It was not a human voice, but something far older, far darker. It warned them to leave before it was too late. But the way out had been sealed. The walls had shifted, trapping them inside the mountain's dark heart. And then the Djinn revealed themselves. Their forms were made of smoke and shadow, twisting and shifting, always just out of reach. But their presence was undeniable. The explorers could feel their eyes on them, cold, piercing. The Djinn spoke again, this time louder, commanding them to leave. But the mountain had already claimed them. One by one, the explorers began to disappear. Some were pulled into the shadows. Others simply vanished without a trace. Their screams echoed off the stone walls until only one remained. The last explorer stood trembling, knowing his fate was sealed. The Djinn's voice echoed in his mind. You were warned, but you did not listen. As the last explorer wandered through the cave, he could hear them. Whispers, louder now, more clear. But they were not coming from outside. They were inside his mind, echoing through his thoughts, pulling him deeper into madness. Everywhere he turned, the symbols on the wall seemed to pulse, to shift as if alive. His breath grew heavy, his vision blurred. He began to see things that weren't there. Or perhaps they had always been there, hiding just out of view. He saw the others, the faces of his friends, their eyes wide in terror. But they were not alive anymore. They were part of the mountain now, trapped between life and death, just like him. He tried to run, but the shadows moved with him, twisting around him like a suffocating fog. There was no escape. The Djinn had claimed him, body and soul. They say if you listen closely, you can hear the faint cries of those who were taken, those who never returned. Perhaps you will hear them too. But if you do, remember this. No matter how strong the call, do not answer it. The Jabal Haffa does not forgive. And once you enter its domain, the Djinn will be waiting. They always are. It is a call that should never be answered. Oh my. Here at occultist.net is a story by Astano Sever entitled How to Summon a Genie or Jinn. That I would like to know. A genie is a type of spirit, begins the author, best known from Arabian folklore. He is traditionally depicted as imprisoned within a bottle, or a ring, or an oil lamp, and capable of granting wishes when summoned. Genie is an anglicized name for jinn, but they have the same meaning. Supernatural creatures from early pre-Islamic, Arabian, and later Islamic mythology. We also read, both devils and jinn feature in folklore and are held responsible for misfortune, possession, and disease. However, the jinn are sometimes supportive and benevolent. They are mentioned frequently in magical works throughout the Islamic world, to be summoned and bound to a sorcerer, but also in zoological treatises as animals with a subtle body. Genies are very similar to demons, as depicted in grimoires belonging to the Judeo-Christian tradition, such as Ars Goetia and Grimorium Verum. The difference is more cultural than actual when it comes to working with these spirits. Both demons and genie can be summoned using the same method. Number 1, how to summon a genie. Have the right reason. It's always important to have a good reason for summoning a spirit, not just on a lark. Spirits dislike immature magicians and witches who disrupt their activities for personal entertainment. If you behave like an uneducated mongrel, you can expect a backlash from the spiritual force you summon. So always prepare the questions and requests you have beforehand, so you can ask them at the right time. This is a good time for introspection as well. While you are crafting the request or question, it is recommended to ask yourself whether you could accomplish the same thing without evoking a spirit. If you can, perhaps summoning a spirit is unnecessary and inadvisable. We also read that, quote, a sorcerer may summon a jinn and force him to perform orders. Summoned jinn may be sent to the chosen victim to cause demonic possession. Such summonings were done by invocation, by the aid of talismans, or by satisfying the jinn, thus making a contract. Jinn are also regarded as assistants of soothsayers. Soothsayers reveal information from past and present. The jinn can be a source of this information because their lifespans exceed those of humans. Another way to subjugate them is by puncturing their skin or dress. Since jinn are afraid of iron, they are unable to remove it under their own power. End quote. Overall, make sure that the reason is justified. Number 2, find the right genie for the task. Unlike grimoires from the Western tradition, such as Ars Goetia, that describe demons, grimoires with jinns are much harder to come by. We read that, quote, Ibn al-Nadim, Muslim scholar of his Kitab al-Fihrist, describes a book that lists 70 jinn, led by Fuqtus, including several jinn appointed over each day of the week. Bayard Dodge, who translated al-Fihrist into English, notes that the most of these names appear in the Testament of Solomon, a collection of the late 14th or early 15th century medical manuscripts from Spain, describes a different set of 72 jinn, termed Tayalik, again under Fuqtus, here named Ficatus or Fikitus, blaming them for various ailments. According to these manuscripts, each genie was brought before King Solomon in order to divulge their corruption and residence, while the jinn king Fikidish gave Solomon a recipe for curing the ailments associated with each genie as they confessed their transgressions. End quote. So there's an obvious connection between these 72 jinns and those found in the Lesser Key of Solomon, which also has 72 demons. We read further, quote, a disseminated treatise on the occult, written by Al-Tabazi, called Shemail, deals with subjugating demons and jinn by incantations, charms, and the combination of written and recited formulae, and to obtain supernatural powers through their aid. Al-Tabazi distinguished between licit and illicit magic, the latter founded on disbelief, the former on purity. And he misspelled latter, by the way. Latter has 2 T's. Do some spell checks. End quote. And then here we find something similar to the right-hand path and the left-hand path, or white magic and black magic. One can summon a genie with purity or pure intentions, which is white magic. Or one can summon a genie with disbelief in morality and God and divine punishment, which would be akin to black magic. We also read, quote, 7 kings of the jinn are traditionally associated with days of the week. End quote. I'm not going to be able to get to the actual, if I keep on going here, I'm not going to be able to get the actual summoning. Here we go. Communicate with the genie. Once you've entered the trance state, it's time to contact the spirit by calling its name, or using the special incantation if one exists. Some grimoires have a special incantation and various actions that need to be used to summon a particular jinn. Once the genie appears, you can speak to it, possibly even hear and see it. Or maybe you will just feel its presence in the ritual space. In either case, it's there, and it's up to you to give voice to your desire, your question, or request. In other words, say what you want to say to this spirit. Ask it for its help. It will then answer either yes or no. If yes, you can expect some powerful help to come your way in the upcoming days, weeks, months, or perhaps years, depending on what you asked for. If no, you should not be discouraged. Although this genie is not interested in helping you for whatever reason, you can try your luck with another one and see how it goes. As long as you're able to perform the trance induction successfully, you may contact many spirits and ask for aid until one of them is ready to help. That procedure I would not recommend. Let's check out some art.
Some records of Islamic traditions state that Allah created the angels on Wednesday and jinn on Thursday. In Islamic tradition, there are many different types of jinn. It is a creature unable to maintain a shape, so this is why it is impossible for humans to detect them with any sensory organ. A jinn is not seen unless it wants to be seen. The jinn is an invisible entity created from smokeless fire. Actually an energy, and not like the fire that we know it as today. All demons and angels, they are jinn, but not all jinn are demons and angels. Jinn are said to have existed in the heavens and walked the earth thousands of years before humans were created. They were said to be magical and prideful beings with extraordinary abilities, and their pride is believed to have been their downfall. They ate, they drank, they even gave birth, but they possessed strength greater than humans, and they were much faster than humans. Jinn may very well be the reason that humans were created all together. They were so prideful, they began thinking they were better than their creator, Allah. This pride of the jinn, it brought about corruption and injustice all throughout the world. And Allah, he tried to warn the jinn. He tried to warn them about their ways, but they were too prideful to even care. The jinn, they ignore Allah. So Allah, he sent his angels to earth to battle the jinn and cleanse the earth. Once many evil jinn were destroyed, Allah decided to create man. Man was created on a Friday out of clay from the earth, but this was many years after the creation of jinn. When Allah created the first man, he ordered the angels and the jinn to bow before him. And they bowed before Adam. But Iblis was a jinn, and he refused to bow before Adam because Iblis, a creature made of smokeless fire, believed he was more superior than this mere human, that was made of clay. Iblis argued that he should not be forced to bow. Iblis's arrogance and his pride got him banished from the heavens and condemned to hell. Iblis accepted his fate, but he asked Allah to grant him a special request. Iblis asked Allah for power over humans. And he asked to be spared until Judgment Day so he could tempt humans to stray away from the path of righteousness and lead them to the same fate that he must bear. Allah, he granted Iblis's request, but only under the condition that he would not have power over man. Instead, if man chose to stray away from the path of righteousness, it will be because of their own free will. Iblis is known to many by other names, such as Satan, Lucifer, and the devil. Many debate whether Iblis is an angel or a jinn. Both sides may be right. All angels and demons are jinn, but not all jinn are angels or demons.
You're at Etsy.com. What do we have at Etsy.com? Harem Jinn. Direct/distant remote binding female companion. Paying for installments of $12.50. This is a direct binding listing for a beautiful female harem jinn companion. Her name and information will be sent to you once the binding has been completed. This remote binding service takes approximately 24 to 48 hours. It's about $50. It costs $50. I can do this binding directly to you or to a vessel of your own that you have in your possession. I will need your birthday and name if you would like it bound to you. If you would like it bound to your vessel, I will need you to send a picture of the vessel to which you would like it bound. Once the binding is completed, I will send you more information and instructions on bonding with the companion in a message. This is a digital item. Okay. So they're like selling you a jinn, basically, right? Here's some reviews. I have purchased from Katie Cat several times now, and each time is a wonderful experience. Purchased item, female green goblin spirit companion. Here's another response. When I ordered my cyborg spirit lady, right away I envisioned how she looks. Like brown hair with side bangs, very slim, with microscope on her right eye, and I named her Skynet. Miracles happen on internet TV about cyborg movie episodes. Thank you so much. Item purchased. Female servitor cyborg jinn companion. So evidently, jinn are being caught and sold by Katie Cat. Alexander Boyle writes, once again, I can't complain regarding Katie and her services. Totally first class. And the moon elf is really beautiful. Reserved for Alex, August the 14th. Female M. Female something. Murano bead vessel option. Made to order digital items, don't accept returns or exchanges. Please contact the seller with any problems with your order. My jinn never got here. You said you're selling me a jinn and they're not here, buddy. Ma'am, madam. Okay, let's move on. That's at Etsy, where, of course, Etsy is where is commonly sold handmade crafts. Like if you knit mittens, you can sell your mittens on Etsy. That kind of thing. Now it's supposed to be highly commercialized, I heard. Of which this may be evidence. Here at Tripoto.com is a story by Jitendra Ajmera entitled The City of Djinns, Bala Fort. That's in Oman. A city of ghosts, myths, and legends. And Jatindra begins. Mysterious spells. The hocus pocus. The timeless tale of black magic. The stunning architecture and whatnot. Well, that's what the highlands of Oman holds for us. Situated in the land of magic, myth, and legend, the Bala fort was made during the 12th to 15th century. They couldn't narrow it down more than that? 300-year range? We're not really sure. Forgive me. By the then rulers of Banu Naban tribe. Some artifacts and apparel kept inside the fort date back to as old as 500 years before Christ. Due to various dynasties taking over, the fort has been built and rebuilt several times over the centuries. It was not until UNESCO accepted it as a World Heritage Site in the year 1987 that the Omani government decided to start a serious restoration project. The fort had suffered numerous ruinations and only got restored in May 2012, being open to the public. Bala Fort. Look at that. That's beautiful restoration. Oh my goodness. That's gorgeous. Now I want to go there. Bala Oman is called Madinat el-Ser, the city of magic. To this day, a mysterious aura surrounds that walled city, perhaps a sign that magic is still practiced somewhere deep in its heart. Regarding the fort, it is believed to be the epicenter of Omani paranormal activity, home to tales of magic, myth, and belief. Roaming around, you can hear hundreds of different versions of these stories, each told with vivid visualization, as if they were true, and maybe they were true, or are true. Have a look at one of the most famous stories below. Quote, almost 1,400 years ago, a man was stoned to death by the villagers of Bala for practicing wizardry. Earning his redemption, the same man has now delayed the fort restoration as an unseen force. The stones erected and mortar plastered during the day come unraveled in the night, and by the morning have been replaced by ruins. Those who die by violence here are said to become Jinn and haunt their place of death. One of them was a woman who is said to have built the fort's walls in one night alone. There's a tree growing in the citadel that would bring an untimely death to anyone who touched it, because of the sorcerer who cast a spell on it. The legend goes that if you are not from Bala and touch the tree, you will be doomed to great misfortune and an untimely death. And there are more. Certainly there are speculations over these narratives and oral tales, but who knows what might be truth. If you are planning your trip to Oman, set your eyes on this fort, as it takes you away from the mundane and less paranormal life. Normal things to look out for. Okay, where's the unnormal things? Mazes. Magical pottery. Walls, wells, and towers. The Al-Kabasa, which is a 5-story building, is the oldest part of the fort and is located on the left side. Given the architecture, one could easily get lost and wander for hours in the fort. Also, don't forget to capture the long surrounding mud brick settlement, which is organized around irrigation channels, a classic example of medieval Islamic reign. In all elements, you will find traces of the traditional gunpowder fortifications of Oman. Also home to traditional pottery creations. Copper artifacts, and silver blades. The fort has dedicated markets housed nearby in the old souk. Age-old methods of clay pottery are still practiced by craftsmen in making utensils and decorative objects. Though the craft dies with each passing day, the artists have been trying harder to pass their craft on to further generations. Let's check out some art.
So you add these two together, you get the square root of 8. No, this stinks. I'm never gonna get it right.
Sure you will, buddy. We just have to keep working at it.
Oh, forget it, Dad. I'm just no good at math.
Jimmy.
Math stinks. I wish it never existed. No more math. 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 Mom? Dad? Who are you?
Why, I'm the math genie. And I'm here to show you what your life would be like if math never existed.
Really?
That's right, Jimmy. You wanted a world without math? Well, now you've got it!
Awesome! No more math homework! Thanks, Math Genie!
Now what do you think you're doing?
No more math homework means more time for video games.
Not so fast, Jimmy. You wanted a world without math. What do you think powers are video games and TV? Math.
Well, that's okay. I don't need video games. I'll just go make some snacks. Wait, what the?
That goes for your microwave, too. Without math, it's just a box with dials.
Well, that's okay. I don't need snacks. I'll go to my comic books. You don't need math for comic books. No.
Think again,
No.
Jimmy. You could thank good old Mr. Math for printing the superheroes in your comic.
Come on, work. Why won't you work?
Looks like that cell phone can use a heaping dose of vitamin M. The M stands.
Math! Yes! I get it, Math Genie. Mom, Dad, where are you?
Oh, I'm sure your parents told you the story of how they met.
They met in math class.
They never met.
Oh my god. I don't exist.
You've never existed. I know, right? Maybe you'll think twice before wishing math never existed. You see, Jimmy, math is all around us, not just in textbooks. It's part of society. I think it was Unseen Jinn who once said, "Oh shit! Oh shit! Shit! Oh shit! Okay, all right, everything's fine. Stay cool, stay cool. You're fine, you're fine. Okay, you just gotta get rid of the body. Yeah, just get rid of the body. Okay, I'll call Carl. Carl will know what to do. Carl's been to prison, so Carl will know what to do. Why is this phone working?
It's the police, Math Genie. We have the place surrounded.
You'll never take me alive!
Honey, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Did you have that dream again, the one with the kid? That's 3 times this week, honey. This job is wearing you down. Maybe it's time you put in for a transfer? I think you do great in sales.
No, it's not that simple, okay? My father
Was a math genie, and his father was a math genie, I know. But maybe it's time you start living your own life?
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
Here at trueloregrimoire.tumblr.com. There's an article entitled Magic, Binding, and Exorcisms of Jinn, Advanced Knowledge. And the author begins, Jinn are known to possess powers and even create paranormal-like events. King Solomon is mentioned both in the Quran and the Hebrew Bible as a powerful figure. I once heard there's no such thing as a Hebrew Bible. The Quran, the only book of the two mentioning jinn. Scrolls and books containing Solomon's notes on magic have been translated, and they seem to key details of his power, and they seem to reveal details of his power relating to the binding of many jinn, becoming master over them. Jinn are not easy to get rid of, especially if the jinn doesn't want to go. Normal exorcisms for demons are said to do nothing, the possessed normally becoming even more aggressive and dangerous, unless the jinn has its own belief in Christian doctrine. The jinn who are thought to be demons are well known for masquerading as such, tricking those who think they know better. But jinn, unlike demons, are more likely to communicate, even in a very derisive way, understanding the difference in the type. Maybe better through process of elimination. That means virtually nothing. As mentioned, a jinn who does not want to leave may not go easily. Bargaining and dealing may make them leave, but some trick the person and return a short time later. It is thought that a more powerful jinn, or even angels, can make a jinn move on, as they fear punishment from these things. More powerful jinn, or the angels, which are higher than they are. Verses in the Quran are said to work in several cases to exorcise jinn, but not in every case. Binding jinn itself may be tricky. At the very least, Solomon had been successful in doing this, using highly complicated magic, and fasting and taking several days. One thing that we seem to agree upon is that a jinn's real name must be known, as well as having an item that belongs to that particular jinn, or represents it, maybe they're saying. An item that represents it. Most people who encounter jinn do not hear of a full name, or only hear it twice or only once. Other jinn are known to not to give out that information of other jinns, to protect themselves from binding. The binding or trapping of a jinn usually requires a vessel of some sort. At the time of its popularity, quote unquote, people would bind jinn in brass or copper oil lamps. Then, as this became known, the lamps were often stolen from houses, so trapping them in trinkets became the way to thwart others from stealing their jinn. Iron is also a known metal used, but no one is really sure if their weaknesses to these metals can cause them death. As stated earlier, the binding ritual can take days. People who have encountered jinn would be ill-advised to summon or call upon or bind them. Jinn, as mentioned earlier, take control of the body that they attach to or possess. They are known for communicating with other types of entities, including other jinn, even at long distance. If a genie wants to cause harm to an individual or a family that is halfway around the world, they can do this for generations. Some jinn, like most of the fantasy lore, were set to grant wishes. This is part of the power that Solomon held, as well as some others. Not every jinn does this, nor is it known that every jinn is capable of this. Most wishes can be misled, like bad deals, and each wish or deal has something attached to it, like in fine print. Some may see the granted wishes and deals as allusions to the one who seeks it. Maybe it says some granted wishes and deals are allusions to the one who seeks it. In some cases, it may seem as if a wish or deal is done, but it may not be. And finally, People who have encountered jinn say that some jinn act as if they have future sight. Many who have dealt long with jinn say this is probably not so, and rather it is the jinn's ability to talk their way into making a person think so, also causing more fear in the person. For instance, a jinn may act as if someone may encounter a bad stroke of luck or have a personal crisis in a short period of time. The person may have this happen, or it may not. Let's check out some art.
What's going on?
I'm so scared.
You're so scared?
Yeah.
Of what?
I don't know. The light.
Are you okay?
No.
Come on, relax. Just relax. I think you need to calm down, okay? Calm down. Come on. Just feel comfortable. I think I had a lead power with a fuse or something. I think I need to check it out there, okay?
Go.
No, come on. I have to check it for you. Feel comfortable, okay? Just sit down, relax, alright? I'll be coming in a minute, alright?
Okay.
Every day. Yeah.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, I brought your friend, you know.
Okay, so what should I offer you guys, especially you?
I'm cool, I'm cool.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure you cool?
Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
I have to excuse you guys, okay?
Hey, where you going?
I know you can't see me, but I'm standing right beside you. Helter Skelter. Disorder. Fuck!